One thing which immediately comes to my mind, that if you're looking seriously to get into designing, I highly recommend getting your English skills better, because I can see that you're not the strongest in terms of like communicating in English, which I understand is like a hard topic to learn English. Without just talking about any design stuff, that would already be really helpful, especially because most companies, even in Brazil, even though Brazil is like a huge market, there is a lot of stuff to do. Most companies who are hiring UX UI designers in general, you really likely going to work with like worldwide teams, like basically teams from all over the world, because usually companies who are looking for designers, they are like, I would say like higher end companies or like more expensive enterprise companies, and they usually have like different departments all over the world, so you are really likely that you're gonna need to speak in English. So that would be an important point.
Yeah, there are many opportunities to speak English here. I know this is my second time like talking with someone in English.
Yeah, all right. It's still going well. So basically, if you're already understanding everything which I'm saying, and you know, I noticed that you can speak English, so don't take it the wrong way. I'm just saying that in the long term, I definitely recommend of like trying to put more emphasis on that. I wouldn't recommend like using Duolingo or any apps like this, because it tends not to work. This is how I see it.
I have the greatest opportunity to learn English. My girlfriend is a English teacher, so
that's good. Okay.
So it's not going to be hard.
Okay. Just take your time with it, and yeah, like basically the best practice is like actually like talking and then just talking in English as much as you possibly can, and over time you're going to learn it. So basically like there are like applications which are like matching you with like other people from other nationalities of like whatever language they want to learn. So for example, like an English person want to learn Portuguese, then you can match with them, and then you can teach them Portuguese while they teach you English. I guess there are some applications like this one, because before I went to the Netherlands, my English was quite poor. But then because I moved to another country where I was forced to speak in English, like they didn't understand anything else, right? So I was just forced to do it. Getting to an environment, maybe even your university, where you're able to speak more your English, like present your ideas in English, it's even just maybe if you make videos for yourself and you're just talking about design in general in English, that's going to be really helpful, because as I said, like most companies who are hiring us, they more or less have different teams all over the globe where you're going to need to speak in English and articulate your ideas in English. Although I just want to say that I don't have any English certificate at all, nor a design degree, nor any kind of degree. So I usually feel like that certificate, at least in Europe, they're not really requiring it, as long as they can see that you are able to do the stuff regarding design and regarding the language skills. Like I never really been as like any certificate or degree or anything. Basically they just wanted to see like how well I'm doing what I'm doing. Having a paper does not mean that, I would rather say not having a paper or like a certificate about something does not mean that you cannot land a job or cannot find a job, as long as you can actually do whatever is required. But going for more technical topics, looking at your portfolio, just overall my first instinct was that, first of all, your design skills looks good. Like basically whatever you can create is already like solid. On the other hand, the projects themselves, which is included in your portfolio, this free pieces of work, is like not the best, I would say. I would rather look for like outcomes and like basically applications who are more like phone applications, or more like something like, because when we are like aiming to create a new project, it's important that you create a project which is somewhat like reflecting of like what, you know, UX UI designers in generally do. I think this gaming project also could be nice. On the other hand, if you are looking more for like a UX UI like game designer position, maybe that would be better. So it would be important to like figure out of what you want to actually do, like what type of UX job you are actually looking for, and then create project which is like evolving or revolving around that topic. As I said, like this project is a good start. For example, this one is more or less, for me, it just seems like a website, which is still important to have this skill of yours of like creating websites. On the other hand, like a website tends to be really static. It's not holding that much value. It's not necessarily solving a problem. More or less, a website is more or less just giving information about the service or product. Definitely it takes time to like create a project. But just keep in mind that, you know, you want to create projects which is like more reflecting like what sort of the market is actually doing. That's why it's like having like dashboard tools, applications, you know, this is what we are in general like hired for. If you would look for more like a web design or like a web designer position, then like having websites on your website, it makes sense. But just in general, that would be my first advice, to like choose your project topic wisely, and also your problem, because also I think almost the problem which you are about to solve with your application is even more important than the project itself, because the more like the bigger the problem, the more more people have this same problem which you are solving with your application. Basically your application is going to be more valuable because it's solving more people's problem in general. So it's also like equally important choosing like a good problem to work on to create a good application. And the third thing is just generally if you look at more technical parts of like the structure of the case study itself, I think it's a little bit like all over the place. Probably the content which is having here could be fine, but just like overall when I scroll through the case studies themselves, they are feeling like quite all over the place. They are not being really polished. In the sense that, you know, there is like a lot of different kind of like just screenshots. For example, this one is also like kind of feels all over the place. So also your case study has to have like a nice layout, sort of like a clean and modern look and feel to it. So not just your design has to look good, but also your case study, how everything is being organized, how everything is being aligned, how you're talking about your project in general, has to be also looking neat and nice.